We have mapped several slums across cities in Maharashtra, and across the cities, the major lacuna has been sanitation. On a day-to-day basis, not having access to safe sanitation has really hit the poor communities very hard, and this has been the story across cities.
There are many issues that families face. A typical family would have limited knowledge about sanitation or hygienic practices or garbage disposal. Because of their lack of awareness about cleanliness, they would dispose of garbage in the community toilets, which again would choke the sewage. They find it really unhygienic to use it because you're sitting in a chamber that has spit all around, that doesn't flush, that doesn't have water supply. You can't latch the doors, it doesn't provide privacy or safety. In addition, because women are going out of their house to use a community toilet, they're more vulnerable, and there are always bad people out there that tease them or that peep at them. This increases the chances of girls or women of all ages, to be more vulnerable, to be abused or raped. All these factors, discourage people to use community toilets and increases the need to have individual toilets at home.
तो जैसे कि देखो कि सामने का जो एरिया है तो वो पूरा ओपन डेफिकेशन का है, वहाँ पे सब लोग जाते हैं, और जिनके पास टॉयलेट नहीं है तो उनके पास ऑप्शन ही नहीं है कि जाना है तो ओपन डेफिकेशन के लिए जाना है। तो फिर चीज़ें इस तरह से होती है कि अगर मेरे घर में टॉयलेट नहीं है तो मैं एक औरत हूँ तो मुझे दिन भर रुकना पड़ता है क्योंकि मुझे शौच के लिए जाना है। तो जैसे कि मैं यहाँ औरतों से बात करती हूँ तो समझ में आता है कि दिन भर रुकने की वजह से यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा औरतों को गर्भाशय के प्रॉब्लम से या पेट के प्रॉब्लम से, जैसे कि कुछ औरतों से बात करते हुए मुझे समझ में आया कि ये पूरा ओपन जगह है, यहाँ पे ना कोई पत्थर है या ना कोई पेड़ है कि जिसके पीछे औरतें बैठ सकें या फिर खुद को सेव कर सकें। तो जब बैठना होता है तो रास्तों से जो गाड़ियाँ जाती है वो रुक जाती है, उनकी खिड़कियाँ नीचे चली जाती है, लाइट्स उनके ऊपर पड़ने लगती है, या फिर जाते जाते कोई कमेंट कर दे अच्छा हग रहे हो, हागो हागो। तो ये बहुत ज़्यादा शर्मिंदगी की चीज़ है जिनके बारे में हम सोच भी नहीं सकते। तो ये सारी चीज़ देखें, ऊपर से अगर आपको रात को जाना है तो वहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा गवत है, तो अगर बारिश में देखा जाए तो पैर नीचे धंस जाते हैं मड़ के अंदर, और फिर वो वहाँ पे कीड़े हैं, मकोड़े हैं, बिच्छू है, ये सब काटने की ज़्यादा डर लगने लगता है। तो फिर इन सारी चीज़ों के चलते आपके हेल्थ इशू भी ज़्यादा बढ़ जाते हैं। तो ये चीज़ें सिर्फ टॉयलेट से रिलेट नहीं करती, ये पूरे घर से रिलेट करती।
तसे भरपूर यायचे, म्हणजे गटर नव्हते आमच्याकडं, म्हणजे पावसाळ्याच्यामुळं तिकडं जायला लागायचं, मग गवतात बसायचं, काय म्हणजे नाही का मच्छर बिच्छर लय चावायचे तरी जायला लागायचं।
उन्हात आणायचे, जरी पोरांना कधी पोटात दुखायला लागलं काय तर उन्हात जायचे पोरं,
बाहेर जायला लागायचं, दूर जायला लागायचं, शेजारून घाण व्हायची।
There's a global interest in worm composting toilets because it's a very environmentally friendly, low energy, odor free, turning what we consider human waste into a valuable resource technology.
We came across this approach where you use sort of nature's way of treating the waste, which is looking at earthworms, which are the most powerful waste kind of neutralizers available in nature. The process is called vermi-filtration, where you use earthworms and culture of bacteria, which evolve with the growth of the earthworm as well, and they together digest the waste very, very rapidly and effectively. It decomposes the waste very rapidly. Within 8 to 24 hours, that waste is completely converted into vermicompost.
The tiger toilet uses tiger worms in it. That's why it's called the tiger toilet. It is a worm composting toilet that converts solid human waste into compost that you can use as fertilizer. The liquid waste is filters through the biomedia, and the effluent is 90% safe to be released into the sewage. All of this makes the Tiger toilet an eco-friendly product. It's highly sustainable and it's affordable because you're having on-site treatment of waste, and it's an aerobic system that has no odor, and it uses very less water for it to function. And the other important benefit of a Tiger toilet is that if you stop using the toilet, the entire ecosystem, that's the worms, they die, and the cocoons, they remain in dormant mode. And once the household starts using the toilet again, the cocoons hatch, they acclimate, and the ecosystem revitalizes itself.
The most important thing what has been done in the technology of Tiger toilets is we have a complete filtration system for the toilet, which ensures that the water which goes inside the soil, inside the ground, is filtered to a large extent, and we don't contaminate the water table below.
In terms of technical indicators, no odor, no flies, good drainage, and everything is fine, right? Going beyond is, if you look at the health in the digester, the compost that looks like dry tea powder, used tea powder, and its texture speaks of good health. Within the digester, generally you find fresh compost castings, and you see the colonies, and you see the cocoons, so which shows that the health of the digester is as expected, like we had expected by way of biomimicking the nature.
We call this is our research and development center, PriMove, and we are handling here lots of researches belongs to Tiger toilet and Tiger biofilter, as well as fecal sludge treatment plant. As you see background is our wormery, is our worm production center here, and now we are producing here worms from the cow dung, and we are feeding with them with the real sewage for real acclimatization purpose. We are using the Eisenia fetida species. We are growing here and supplying for our Tiger toilet and Tiger biofilter.
We found that this digestion was extremely effective. So we decided to try it out in the field. We constructed the first 10 toilets near Pune in India here, and we looked at them again for more than a year, trying to see how they perform in kind of natural conditions. After doing this, these first 10 toilets, we started mainly catering to the rural market, also going along with the Swachh Bharat mission, which was launched by the government of India, where sanitation was promoted in a big way. So we constructed more than about 2,000-3,000 I think toilets in those 2 years in rural areas. But then about a year and a half back, the idea was that we should also be looking at slums and crowded urban areas, because that's a completely different scenario, and that's where people really need solutions, where waste can be managed on site, where there is no kind of sewerage system available to take away the waste.
PriMove got associated with Path Seattle, and there was funding available for developing a prototype. So there begins the journey of urban Tiger toilets.
A toilet that could fit into an urban slum, we took the worm bed that was beside the toilet, generally in the rural areas where there's lots of space. We put the worm bed underneath the toilet, that the superstructure that people go inside. So for an individual toilet, you have about a 3 foot by 3 foot space that you step inside to use, and underneath that we had about 3 feet by 3 feet or 1 meter by 1 meter space where we could try and design a worm composting system, a biofilter that could treat the human solids and the urine and the wash water that people wash themselves with after using the toilet. treat all of that in a system that doesn't require any chemicals, it doesn't require any electricity, it doesn't create any odors. It's virtually maintenance free, come along every year or every 10 years, however long it takes to fill up. That depends on how much height you have to accumulate worm castings, the worm poo, and how many people are using the toilet. For the 3 foot by 3 foot space that we're using, we estimate that 6 or 7 people every day can use the toilet, so reasonable size family.
So our first project with tiger toilets was really in Kolhapur city, where we took up a very peri-urban kind of a slum community, and 3 households got the benefit of the tiger technology. So when we had our next opportunity, we picked up Donje village. So we decided that this would be an ideal place where we could start experimenting with tiger technology, and in the last 2 months we've actually facilitated 9 household toilets which have been very happy with the technology.
आता तुम्ही संडास बांधल्यामुळं फायदा झाला ना. पावसाळ्याचं उन्हाळ्याचं म्हातारी माणसं काय जवळची जवळ गेली का नाही संडासला.
पण सुरुवातीला जालमल्यापासून आम्ही ग्राउंडवर वगैरे जात होतो तेव्हा पावसाळ्यात खूप प्रॉब्लेम होत होता आणि उन्हाळ्यात वगैरे दुर्गंध होत होती, स्मेल यायचा, त्यामुळे नको वाटायचं ओपनमध्ये बसायला वगैरे. ह्याचं कसं आहे कन्स्ट्रक्शनला कॉस्ट पण कमी आहे आणि जे खत निर्माण होणार त्याचा दुसरीकडे पण उपयोग होऊ शकणार, त्यामुळे ते 2 in 1 आहे.
I am satisfied with this project. You are the maintenance best. फ़ायदा हुआ कैसा, लेडीज़ का प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हुआ, मेरा भी सॉल्व हुआ. मैं भी कभी भी बीमार पड़ता हूँ तो मुझे जाना लगता है उधर 1 किलोमीटर आगे, और उधर क्या होता है अगर इसकी खेती है, उसका खेती है, उसमें बैठने के लिए वो तो मालिक तो बोलेगा ना, ठोकेगा अपने नाम से. ये भी प्रॉब्लम है ना. सो वो प्रॉब्लम भी दूर हो गया ना. गालियाँ खा के कौन, इससे बेहतर ये है ना. अच्छा ये टाइगर अपना, हाँ ये बहुत अच्छा हुआ.
म्हणजे आता जे आम्ही बाहेर जे जात होतो साईडला ते आमचं म्हणजे वाचलेलं आहे, म्हणजे त्या मुलींच्यापासून अलिप्त झालेलं आहे.
Schools is something which is very close to our heart because we want children to go to schools and have sanitation facilities. We would not be very happy with kids going in the afternoon after the meals to the toilets in the open. They should have facilities as much they needed at their homes. So that's where we have just touched the iceberg of the schools. We're talking about hundreds of schools still needing toilets in very remote parts, and children still not going to school because there are no toilets. So that's something which we are trying to work out. The Indian impetus on building toilets increased. A lot of households started having toilets, which was a nice thing to be. So we developed a new solution for schools because these solutions for the households would not fit in for schools. So we had a hand wash solution for the schools along with sanitation, a different product which would have an array and train of toilets, 4, 6, 8. We had, I think the highest we had was 20 toilets in a line. So that's what was a different solution for a different application. And we are happy that almost about 120 schools roughly would have toilets which would be classified as tiger toilets. We started offering tiger toilets. Initially it was offered in terms of an RCC solution, a completely RCC built toilet made to order and assembled at site.
For installation of one tiger toilet, okay, within 1 day you can install the whole structure, and the next day you can charge it, and then within 24 hours you can use it. Charging means that after installation of the natural filtration media, you are going to add worms plus the bacterial culture.
The applicability of the tiger toilet system is tremendous. You find that the city congestion prevents laying of sewerage pipelines, and after laying the sewerage pipelines, having a big treatment plant, many of the treatment plants do not function well for whatever reason. So therefore decentralized, locality based, apartment based solutions are extremely important. And the Tiger systems have an ability and promise in delivering those solutions. When I started associating with Tiger toilets, I realized that an effort on sewage treatment on larger scale was in place. So issues of scale up by way of multiplication as well as by way of handling larger quantities of waste matter with typical characteristics of urban waste also is a promise.
The solution related to wastewater. So we first built, as I said, the 500,000 liter plant, which is where we are sitting right now. So this plant treats water from a sewer line. So we have tapped a sewer line which is coming from couple of slums as well as apartments upstream of this, and it's brought to the site where this sewage treatment plant is. So we've got some screens initially, which protect, of course, the plastics and other solids which may be floating into the sewage. So that's trapped initially. Then you have something that is used to kind of, how shall I say, to accumulate the inorganic, the sands, the pebbles and all that. So that gets kind of stored in one place and removed. Then you have a storage tank, because sewage comes kind of, it's not a regular uniform flow. So you get a lot of flow in the mornings, in the evenings, afternoons and nights, the pipes are practically empty. So you need a kind of a balancing reservoir so that you can get a substantial amount of sewage at one place. From there it is then put on the beds, which we have now converted into crates. So instead of having long big beds where earthworms live, because this makes it very handy to monitor and manage. So we've got these crates which has got various layers of media. So there's a filter media. Overlaying that filter media is our biomedia, which contains the earthworms and the bacterial culture. And as this wastewater passes through, the solids are trapped, the organics are trapped, and also the enzymes that these earthworms secrete. They also do a big job in kind of converting the organics into basic elements. And then this water is collected at the bottom and then stored into a tank. So there's a likelihood of that being handled by people. So we do another sort of polishing to the water. We do sand filtration and also do chlorination, and then it's pumped up from here to the garden and then used. So it's a whole cycle that takes wastewater and then makes it usable and kind of is being used to generate green areas in the city. This is a completely passive system. It uses what nature does to treat the wastewater and to sort of convert organics into safer elements. So this process uses no power, treats 500,000 liters, and the water is now being used to irrigate 100 acres of green area that the municipal corporation is developing on the hills. So it's saving them like huge quantities of fresh water every day. So we've now also taken that forward and developed various packages, right from very small 1,500 liter sewage treatment units to larger units, which are now sort of packaged and we're trying to scale it up and commercialize it across the country. We think this is a very good solution. It's a breakthrough in the whole technologies related to waste management. In terms of the cost to the user, it is very much within the range of any conventional systems. In fact, we are cheaper than the septic tanks and sort of slightly more expensive than the pit latrines. So if you're looking at managing the waste, neutralizing the waste, and handling the waste on site, then probably we are the sort of cheapest solutions in the market available today.
In terms of great stories of the Tiger toilet, I worked with ESOL back in 2016, back when the Tiger toilet was just about starting and picking up pace. I worked in rural Pune, basically just outside of Pune, this district in Maharashtra called the Mawar Taluka. Something that really struck me was just the living conditions of the people there. I mean, I'd learned a lot about, about casteism still being prevalent in India throughout college, through different videos, through different classes. But actually seeing it happen in front of me was a different experience altogether. And the Tiger toilet actually acted as one big equalizer for all of that, because the same toilets that we built at someone who would be from a supposedly higher caste, from a supposedly higher economic background, would be the same as what we had at someone who just lived in a bare hut. So in terms of that, it acted as a great equalizer, and it was fairly satisfying, I would say.
I think the approach right now with the wastewater treatment is very much, all the solutions are very energy intensive. Whereas if you look at nature, it is just processing the waste without using any external energy. It's just the processes that happen there. So by harnessing those, I think we've got a solution where you can really provide a green solution to treating the waste. So I think this is something that should be taken up in a big way. I dream of all the STPs being basically constructed using this or similar technologies where you're not guzzling a lot of power to treat the water. And as well, there are so many places in the world where you really can't have a centralized sewerage network. So you need to have a solution which manages the waste on site, and this is a very powerful solution. So I would like to see tiger toilets in every household where there is no sewerage system or wastewater collection system.
If we are able to conserve the resource, package it in such a manner that you don't drain it through a big drainage line, but you package it within a parking space in an apartment, possibly create nurseries on the rooftop and send it back to the agricultural economy. The concept of circular economy is actually put into practice without getting too much complicated around it. We are simple.
I think it's going to be far-reaching. I really want this to penetrate as much as possible because it really brings you close to nature again. For me, if I can harvest that compost and start greening the slum communities, what more can I ask for?
The important factor about a tiger toilet is its nature at work. The worms are our heroes. They're doing everything so effortlessly, so silently, and they're taking waste materials like solid waste and liquid waste and making it reusable and recyclable, and that's wealth from waste.